They're moving. Unreal. Yeah, let's follow them. Go. I got it. So, as things tend to happen sometimes on the road, we're about to start right here on the corner of Hollywood and Vine, and then the Bernie crew decided to cross the street. So we got to cross the street. There's an impromptu, basically get out the vote here in Los Angeles. So there's Bernie Sanders supporters basically revving up ongoing drivers to vote tomorrow. And then they're going to be going into a bigger rally where I believe Marianne Williamson will be speaking. So we wanted to come out and show it to you. There's a small, it's small, but it's definitely an energized crew of Bernie supporters here, basically trying to get the attention of drivers down here on Hollywood and Vine, which, if you don't know, is where like the Hollywood Walk of Fame is, with the stars and all that business. As you can see, there's some Bernie people right here. This fine Statue of Liberty, revved up. Say that again?
I'm being eaten by the orange monster.
Oh, that's what that is. That's right, Trump. Well, we're being told that Biden is the best to extinguish the orange monster, but I don't see people lining up on corners around America for Joe Biden.
The Statue of Liberty feels the burn.
And are you guys getting good response so far? A lot of honks, I see.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful, wonderful night. The people have been so absolutely enthusiastic and excited about Bernie. It's really been a fun evening to be a part of this movement. And there's so many different people of different ages and colors and walks of life. So it's really been a wonderful experience to be part of the burn.
And compared to what you're seeing, obviously the establishment candidates are lining up now for Joe Biden. Do you see the energy on that side that you see on this side?
I have not seen any of their bumper stickers yet. And I see Bernie stickers everywhere. I have not seen any signs. My neighborhood is covered with Bernie signs. There is so much enthusiasm among the young people in my life because I have very many 15 to 20, 30, 40, 30 years old in my life, and they all feel the burn. They are all feeling the burn. And they don't watch regular TV and stuff like that. They're on the social media. They're on Instagram and all the others, Reddit and everything else, Snapchat. And they spread the word that way, and they're spreading it word to word, person to person, and they are feeling the burn. And they are very excited about Bernie, and they're first-time voters. This is their first time, and they're making an impact, and they are very happy to be making this impact. They're very excited about it. So I don't know one of them that is for any of the other candidates. I've never seen this.
California is the big state, most delegates. It looks like, according to the polls, he's going to win. What's the top issues you're seeing here in California of why people are so attracted to him?
Immigration, healthcare, education, and I think those are some of the, and of course, climate. That's huge.
Yeah, I just got here and I can't tell if it's a cloud or smoke, some of the places I've been going.
Exactly. And, all over our country, there's been people... See, they feel the burn. All over the country, there have been things that have gone on with climate that have been catastrophic to the people who have been experiencing them, from floods to fires, all hurricanes. It's just really sad. You know, what are we going to do? We got to get somebody there who's going to take care of things, who's going to take care of the people, and that's why we feel the burn.
And you're part of the Metro Squad, I see?
Yeah, my aunt is Chris Shimizu. This is my mother. I'm only about 18. This is my first election I get to vote in, and I can't just sit by and watch my world die. Not when I can do something, and I'm finally able to do something.
Mm-hmm. And, you see Joe Biden pushing this message. People don't want a revolution, they want results. But I'm kind of questioning what results he's talking about. What do you think about this playing down of expectations that these establishment politics are hyping up?
They're trying to calm the sheep down when they're seeing the knife for slaughter. And we do want a revolution. The system isn't working. The revolution is the result. It's the result of years of neglect and corruption, and we're sick of it.
I'm stealing that, by the way. The revolution is the result. That's powerful. Why are you so passionate and energized at 18?
I can see it all happening. With the internet, I have the world at my fingertips, and I can see maps of icebergs melting, and I can see pictures of people being turned away because they can't afford health care, and people dying and putting out GoFundMe so they can pay for insulin and basic rights. I myself am having to go through surgeries and horrible costs to health care for things I can't control. It's not my fault my body doesn't work. Why should I have to pay for it, and why should that set me back more than anyone else? And education too. I have to consciously think about what college I choose because of the cost, not because of what I'm going to be learning, because that's why we're paying for it, to learn. We're paying for it to understand, to see how the world works and use that knowledge, and it shouldn't be locked behind the gates of money, because then how are people supposed to climb up the ranks? How are people supposed to make that money so their kids can flourish and stuff when their parents didn't? And then you get this caste system locked in from slave money given to people hundreds of years ago, and it's broken. No one can climb up. It's the same people in charge as it's always been, and the people at the bottom are dying. We're being crushed, and I've had enough.
You know, I think it's so amazing what you're saying, because there's been this propaganda put out there that it's a booming economy. People are really satisfied with the direction of the country, and wages are going up. You see this on CNN and MSNBC. How are you going to beat Trump when the economy's booming? But what you're describing is what I'm hearing and seeing all over the country. People working multiple jobs, people having to decide between groceries or medicine this week, people having to decide between the electric bill or, another bill. What you're talking about is the reality, and it's not just younger people facing it, but people who used to be, in the middle class. I've met older people that are driving Lyft and two other jobs. Can you kind of talk about, more of that dissonance between what's actually happening and what the media puts out there?
Yeah, the media pushes an image that everything is fine when people are working multiple jobs. They're having to stretch every single cent to make things meet. And they're pushing this idea that, it's great that the tax cuts are happening, but taxes are what makes things work. We pay taxes, so things like education and healthcare and all of those things, we don't have to worry about it. We can spend the money we do have on fun stuff. That's what taxes are. They keep the world working, so we don't have to manually pay everything out of pocket. We share it among the whole. And the tax cuts aren't as good as the media pushes, because then there's people are hoarding it all, they can't spend it all, and you're having to pay more to pay for the things the taxes would cover. And the taxes would have already just smoothed over for you. And it's taught from school, the propaganda starts, that, oh, taxes are bad. We overthrew Britain to get rid of taxes. When they make the country work, they pay for children, they pay for housing, they pay for the streets getting paved, and they're all very useful things. And now the tax cuts are being used to stuff the pockets of the rich, which is what taxes were used in the first place in the Revolutionary War that we fought against. We fought against them going to stuff the rich's pockets. And now the opposite is happening, and we can't see it. We're blind to it. And we all need to just take care of each other and share it all. If you have the wealth to spare, but your neighbor is struggling, then why are you hoarding it?
Press that like button so we can get more viewers to hear this powerful message. It's like 10:30, I think, on the East Coast, but we're just getting started here in California. And remember, we are 75 members away from 1,800. I tell you, I don't see a lot of media out here covering the people on the street corner fighting for their democracy. So hit that like button. Join us at Status Coup, statuscoup.com/join. By the way, there's a Bernie truck over there that's playing the Bernie music. I want to ask you, you were talking about your medical problems. I keep hearing this language from establishment politicians. Everybody should have access to affordable health care, which is really just code for keeping insurance companies in place, keeping big pharmaceutical companies. You know, I have access to drive by a mansion right now. It doesn't mean I can afford to buy one. Can you talk about your experience? Like you said, you're being buried with issues that, you know, you don't control, but you're having to worry about bankrupting yourself on top of dealing with your medical issues.
Yeah, it's very biased to have to pay for things that your body does without your control. And we care for the sick, and we're supposed to care for everyone in the country. But when people are being kicked out of their house because they're just going into debt for medical bills, it's very, very serious. My mother can't afford her medical bills either. We're having to decide between, oh, can I go to a university, or am I going to have to stick with community college because of medical bills? And that's terrifying, because how many other people are facing that? How many people are already at the point where they're on the street now, not able to afford medical care or housing or food, because it shoves them out of house and home. And that also makes it so you have to buy your life, your existence, your comfort, your ability to stand without feeling pain. You have to pay money for. You have to buy that. When most people, they can walk down the street for free, but you have to pay money so that can be a pain-free experience. And when you think about it that way, that every day you are paying money for the right to live and for the right to be comfortable and to function, it changes healthcare. It changes the way you look at it. These are people who are trying to not feel like their backs are breaking with every step, to be able to stand up, to breathe, to eat the foods they want, to be able to monitor their heart condition so they don't pass out in the middle of the day. And all of these things normally people don't have to worry about. And it's not hard to do. I know at my college, Santa Monica College, you pay a tiny, tiny amount for your ID card, but that also goes to disability services and all of those functions that help keep the college running, and it works perfectly. Disability testing is free. It's not the hundreds of dollars some other colleges make you go through for it. And it works on the small scales, it works on larger scales in other countries, and the only reason it hasn't been put in place here is because there are so many insurance companies just stuffing their pockets and greedy. And they don't want to change the system because they don't have empathy for the people who are dying to keep it.
What's your name?
Avica Willis.
Thank you, Avica. You're really, really articulate. and inspiring. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So let me set it up if you missed it. Basically, we're on the corner of Hollywood and Vine right now in Los Angeles. There is a Bernie brigade out here on Super Tuesday Eve. They've been kind of running corner to corner, and the honks, I guess, are our fellow burners, giving positive confirmation that they're with you. So LA at least seems to be feeling the burn quite extensively. You got the Bernie van over there, truck, that's been driving around the country. They have a massive Bernie head at the top, so we'll go show you that in a bit. I believe this cheering and rallying on the corners is going to be leading to a bigger event in a little bit that I was told Marianne Williamson is going to be speaking at. Make sure you press that like button. It's the thumbs up button right under the live stream. More people that press that like button, the more viewers we'll get. It's a super chat too, so if you're feeling super, it ain't cheap to be traveling all over the country. And tomorrow is the big day, Super Tuesday. So we definitely will be going most of the day tomorrow. So definitely be with us tomorrow. Right now, we're 75 members away from 1,800. We're trying to grow our membership. I think we grew almost 50 just yesterday. So if you haven't signed up, think about it. Do you see many other media outlets out on the street corners of America with the people? I do not. So keep signing up, statuscoup.com/join. You want to come on? Come on. What's your name, sir?
My name is Ruben G. Madrigal Jr.
Ruben, nice to meet you. Let's see your sign there. Bernie, with the rainbow colors. You from Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Tell me about why Bernie, why this brigade out tonight. Obviously, there's a ton of energy.
There is a lot of energy, but I don't know why I'm here. I just showed up.
Hey, that's fine, too. What's some of the issues you're focused on that you're attracted to as far as Bernie?
I have 18 of the signatures of the Federal Reserve note dollar of the Secretary of the Treasury and Treasurer of the United States. They're all based on my name.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Tell me more.
Godparents are Ramirez's, so when my father passed away, they became my godparents. So they're in office this year, and they'll be reelected, I guess, in September. And Ruben is my first name, so you've got a Robert E. Rubin dollar, and they tricked you. I'm a Reuben Jr., so the Robert is actually a Reuben. And then my great Aunt Rosa, I put it on the arm of the president the one this time with the Omarosa, because my great Aunt Rosa is my step grandmother Rosa as well. So now she signs her name, and it's not the same Rosa, but there's a Rosa Gutanamos Rio, and then there's a Rosa Rios Gutanamo. So, and so 18 of those in consecutive order. So I'm just checking to make sure that I'll be in there and make sure I get my 1% of the grand total.
And looking at kind of Super Tuesday tomorrow, a lot of candidates have dropped out in the last 24 hours. Now they're supporting Biden. Why do you view Bernie as the right candidate?
There was a sign over there on Santa Monica Boulevard that said, "Feel the burn." And he sued. And so I said, well, wait a minute. It's part like his bumper sticker. So he sued. And I was like, okay, I'll see what else is going on.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So, let me see how many people are watching here. Wow, 610 people. Not bad for 10:30 East Coast time. Keep pressing that like button. The more people that press that like button, the more people that will see the live stream. Let's see if I'm missing anything. All right, 75 members away. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, let's see who else. Oh, by the way, if you haven't been paying attention, Beto O'Rourke, Amy Klobuchar, and Pete endorsed Biden in Dallas tonight. It is a coming together of the full buffet table of the corporate establishment. But there's, as you saw, Bernie's in Minnesota, had a huge rally right in Amy Klobuchar's backyard. And Bernie's people are not only at the rallies, but they seem to be here in the trenches.
We have some great speakers here with us tonight. Yes, everybody feeling the burn.
So there's going to be a little on the corner speeches, so we'll show you them. Hey!
Michelle, we got to get started here for a second. Yeah.
Keep signing up, statuscoup.com/join.
when Bernie Sanders announced that he was running for president, we came to this corner and we decided that we are going to push hard and we're going to get Bernie Sanders California's votes. And this is happening tomorrow. The grassroots has stepped up the game. We have been working since 2016. We have not stopped, and we are not stopping until he's sitting in the White House. It is my pleasure today to introduce some of the great grassroots organizers, mobilizers here in California. Trinity Tran is one of them. She's been working with public banking, and I want to invite her here to say a few words.
Yes. So the incredible energy and momentum that we are witnessing right now with Bernie 2020 is the culmination of months and months of hard work and the extraordinary dedication of hundreds of thousands of volunteers from across the nation, from across the state of California, from across Los Angeles, standing here today, hundreds of thousands of people who not only believe that another world is possible, but that that world is worth fighting for. We are in an incredibly historic moment to fundamentally transform every pillar of society, and we know what grassroots means. This past year, our volunteer organizers and activists representing 10 cities with the California Public Banking Alliance took on Wall Street and defeated one of the most powerful corporate lobbyists in the world by passing the Public Banking Act, empowering California cities, counties, and regions to form their own banks. A bank owned by and accountable to the people that's capable of taking back the billions that we pay to out-of-state Wall Street banks so that we can recirculate that money back into our local economies to be able to fund housing and education and roads and bridges instead of fossil fuel, instead of private prisons, instead of weapons of war. This is an incredible moment in history for us to fight. And what we learned through that campaign is victory isn't about how much money you have. It is about how resourceful and strategic you are in your approach. It is about how effective you are at being able to mobilize people into a political force. And most importantly, victory is about how hard you are willing to fight to win. With Bernie Sanders, we are not just taking on the big banks. With Bernie Sanders, we are taking on the military-industrial complex, the pharmaceutical companies, the fossil fuel companies, the landlord lobby, the billionaire-class special interests, multinationals. No presidential candidate has more consistently stood up to protect, defend, and expand the rights of the working people and the communities of color like Bernie Sanders has. No presidential candidate has been more forceful and vocal in their support for the 99% than Bernie. And that is why it is crucial that we have a landslide victory, especially in California, not only because we have the most amount of delegates to gain here, because leading the nation is what we do as Californians. We are a bastion of hope, a model for progressivism for the nation and for the world at large. And that is why we need to elect Bernie Sanders. So thank you everyone for being here today. Beyond volunteers and organizers and supporters, you are revolutionaries, because this is the revolution, and we are going to fight like history has never seen before to get Bernie Sanders elected. Thank you.
Step over there so you get a straight shot.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Trinity. Round of applause for Trinity Tran of Public Bank LA. My name is Michelle Manos. I'm a community organizer here in Los Angeles. I'm the co-founder of Bernie's Coffee Shop over in Mid-City. And I just want to say thank you for coming out here tonight. I'm also an organizer with the Bernie Sanders Metro Squad. Hands up, Metro Squad, hands up. You guys are beautiful. Metro Squad is an action group that has deployed all over the city for the last 6 months, raising awareness about Bernie Sanders through big high energy events, through doing our flash mob dance, and through doing one-to-one voter contact by phone banking and canvassing our butts off for Bernie Sanders, because that's what's going to win. It's going to take all of us. I'm so grateful that you guys are out here with us tonight. We have, 24 more hours. Can we let that sink in for a second? We have 24 more hours to finish contacting every single voter in California. Do you think the Bernie people contacted every voter in California? Do you think we did that? Well, if not, I was hoping the answer was yes, but if you think the answer might be no, then tomorrow you show up. You show up to a field office with the campaign, you show up to Bernie's coffee shop, you make sure that you did your part, so when tomorrow night comes and they're calling the states, 14 states are voting tomorrow, and as they call them, you want to sit there watching, knowing that you did everything you could to make sure that Bernie Sanders is going to sweep Super Tuesday. Can you promise me that? Yeah! Who here is going to be volunteering tomorrow? Thank you guys, thank you. Next, I want to bring up a friend of mine, the executive director of the Shower of Hope, an amazing project that brings showers and other services like haircuts and talk therapy to our homeless brothers and sisters around the city. So give a round of applause for a big Bernie supporter, Mel Tilakaratne.
Great work, great work.
It is truly an honor to be here on a street corner with people who really care about what's going on. Anybody who's seen the news today knows that, right now the Democratic Party is literally on an attack. Not to defeat Bernie Sanders, but to defeat a movement, services, everything that's being done to help the people who are struggling in this country. The majority of the people, not just the people who can't afford health insurance. I'm talking people who can't afford rents, who can't even afford to eat. We are here. I am lucky to be here among great people like Carlos, Trinity, Michelle, Corey, Jason, all of you, Roshan, everyone here who have one thing in mind. No matter what happens tomorrow, we're going to keep on fighting. Not just for ourselves, but for the person to our right and for the person to our left. So, from tomorrow to the day after, until November 3rd, till we win this election, for us, not me, us, not me, us, not me, us, not me, us. Who you gonna vote for?
Bernie Sanders.
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 Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mel. All right, thank you very much, Mel. Please follow Shower of Hope on social media to get involved. Next, I have the great pleasure to bring up an incredible human being. Nomiki Kans is an activist, a reformer, and an investigative reporter. She has reported with the Young Turks, CBS, and The Hill. Her work focuses on corruption and social movements, and Nomiki was also a national surrogate for Bernie 2016. It's my pleasure to introduce Nomiki Kans.
Welcome new Status Coup members, Tiffany and Elizabeth. Statuscoup.com/join.
Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. All right, I'm losing my voice. Thank you guys so much. I was here in 2016. Hey guys, can you keep it down? No, I love it. I love the excitement. So I was here in 2016 in June. And if you all remember in June, right before the California primary, they did some shenanigans. The Associated Press called it. They incorporated superdelegates, even though at that point, before anybody voted, Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton were only a couple hundred delegates away, which meant that they were going into a contested convention. That was in June of 2016. Here we are, several months earlier. They thought they could play games by having the California primary earlier so that the movement wouldn't be able to make it to get through California. Well, we did. Bernie Sanders has not only out-organized all of the Democrats, but he has outraised all the Democrats with more individual contributions in the history of elections. which is being packaged with the other most expensive state, going into Super Tuesday, and we know that we are going to win.
Yes!
We are doing what they said we couldn't do. So here we are on the eve, and they're trying to play some more games. But let me tell you something. I don't know how many of you remember 2016 and how bad it was.
Oh, yeah.
How bad, how hard it was to get on TV, how hard it was to dispel rumors, how hard it was to pull in people over 50 years old, how hard it was to break through the smears, the attacks, the narratives, the games that were happening across the country. That's because it was close. They were able to pull the tricks because it was close. This time around, it is not that close.
It ain't gonna be close.
And I say that because they're praising Joe Biden like he just built the largest movement in the history of mankind in South Carolina. The guy who had no money before South Carolina, the guy who couldn't get past, the third place in Nevada or Iowa, the guy who was supposed to be the savior to Donald Trump, put all of his money into South Carolina and won what we all knew he was going to win. And now they're saying he's the candidate, but we know that's not true.
Right.
We know because tomorrow, Bernie Sanders is going to win California.
Right.
We know because Bernie Sanders doesn't need to have a bunch of mercenary candidates endorse him to create what is an appearance of momentum. Bernie Sanders has millions of people organizing in every single community, doing what the Democrats were supposed to do the last 15, 20 years. And so one thing I want to share with you guys, for those of you who are watching on Status Coup, shout out Jordan right here, and for those of you who are watching in other places, I want you to go into your community and say, you know who's going to help the local races? You know who's going to help us win back the Senate? Who's going to win us more seats in Congress? The guy who is invested in every single community in this country. The guy who's running on an economic justice platform that transcends race, transcends gender, transcends location. It's about working people. And that is the kind of message that appeals across party lines. That's the kind of message that appeals to everyone that is not the 1%. So if you want to win more seats in the House, you want to win more city council seats, you want to win more Senate seats, you elect Bernie Sanders. And that's why Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are not saying that Biden's the guy. You heard them last week. They said, we don't want a contested convention. I'm going to leave you with these final words because I got to go say the same things on Fox News right now. Final words here. Their only path to winning is by backroom deals.
Yup.
Our path is through democracy. What kind of legacy do the Democrats want if they can't even win through democracy? How are they going to beat Donald Trump? We win through democracy. Bernie fights for democracy. I want to hear you guys say that. Bernie fights for democracy. We fight in the Democratic primary and we fight in the general election. This is about keeping our democracy, and Bernie Sanders is the only way we can keep that alive. Thank you guys so much. Go out and vote. Whoever's listening, Bernie Sanders.
The energy out here is off the chain, especially the cars honking all the while they drive by. LA is definitely feeling the burn. Keep signing up, statuscoup.com/join. I believe we are 72 members away. 72 members away from 1,800. $5 a month. Help us fund more of this all around the country.
And sit down and listen as she speaks. But we're also, some of our members are going to be speaking there. So we ask you to join us, please. We're going to be going to the Montalban. It's just half a block from here. Thank you. Yeah, we got to go over there right now. Yeah.
Thank you, wonderful people.
How you doing?
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So people are going over there now?
We're going to go over there.
Cool. Let's march.
Let's march.
All right.
Let's go, folks.
We're going that way.
Over there.
Light board leads the way.
So, as we do here, it's going to be rough, rocky, not polished. We will be crossing the street as more people will be speaking. StatusCout.com/join for more of this. Jamal behind the camera. He's shooting and carrying all the equipment. The guy is on fire. But look at this. You got young people, older people, diversity. You do not see this at the Joe, Beto, Amy, and Pete pillow party in Dallas. Tina, what do you think? What you're seeing here?
You just called that the pillow party.
Yes. This is Tina Desiree. The energy in California is really something.
Also, did you guys pan around and get the save the camera, the Bernie?
Yeah. Can you get the Bernie van over there? So that Bernie van has been going around the country.
His name is Crow. I've seen him in like several different places. He was there in Nevada, in fact, as well. I know he's started, I think, up in Seattle area. But he has the Bernie that spins around the top. There's different signs on the back that you can't see from here. And he puts out like tabling with flyers and yard signs and things like that. But you would not see this with any other candidate.
And it really makes sense to me even more why they're making all these backroom deals, because they're seeing like this army.
Yeah, I mean, I voted today because we have early voting in the state for the first time. And, well, I guess maybe it's not the first time. It's the first time they did it with these new machines, etc.
Oh,
but
this way.
I waited in line for 40 minutes, which I think is a very good sign for Bernie.
Mm-hmm. And as Greg Palast was saying today, they can't rig every election. That's why you need to overcompensate and win by more, which I think
beyond the cheating margin of error is what I'm calling
Bernie's
that.
been spending a lot of money and resources here in California.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Warren has as well recently with her super PAC. What are your thoughts on...
That's her typical hypocritical stuff. I mean, it's not the first time. Look, when she started her campaign, she had transferred a bunch of money over that she had taken in from corporates, yet she was denying that she was taking any. So that was like a play upon words. It was very disingenuous. Then she was on, I think, on the Young Turks, actually, where she said that she was willing to take dark money in the general if she thought it was necessary. So I don't think she ever had a commitment to being a clean candidate.
Do you mean the same Young Turks that has been calling her progressive for a year?
Yeah, that one. I mean, the hypocrisy is astonishing to me.
Just had to slip that in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that would be the one.
So what's interesting to me, now she's using this tactic. Bernie's been in the Senate for 30 years and he's lost. He hasn't toppled the whole empire by himself.
Right.
It's just unbelievable because what has she done?
Well, she was a Republican at that point, so I don't have no idea where she's even... When she says that stuff, I'm like, but weren't you a Republican in that period of time? That really opens her up to that attack from other folks, so I don't know why she does that.
And right now, she's the only thing she's the only thing holding or blocking Bernie from clinching it on a first ballot.
Look, if she was really committed to the progressive movement, she would bow out, knowing that they're clearly doing backroom deals now on the centrist side. That's clearly what's going on. That's why we saw Pete and Amy dropping out. So you know that there's some wrangling going on behind the scenes within the DNC there. So if she actually cared about the movement and not herself, she would realize she's not going to win the nomination. It's not happening. She has no viability. And she would get behind Bernie because she's splitting the progressive side of the vote still.
And are you going to be voting on Super Thursday like Joe Biden said today?
Yes, everybody that is voting for Biden, make sure that you go vote on Thursday. Take his advice.
It's unbelievable. They are all literally coalescing around someone who says, I'm Joe Biden running for U.S. Senate, who says, go vote on Super Thursday, who says, it's wonderful to be back here in the North Pole. I mean, I'm not trying to mock the guy, but if you want to defeat Trump, this is not the way you're going to do it.
I agree. And I also think a lot of the media has gone kid glove on him. I don't think the mainstream cable news stations have really shown that side of his speeches. We've seen it. But if you flip on, sorry guys, if you flip on CNN and MSNBC, they're not showing that stuff. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Where's my guy? Oh.
Wait.
I'm losing Jamal here. Hold on. I forget that he's moving. All right. This is fun. This is fun. I'm usually not live while walking into things. But, all right, we're at the Montalban here in Los Angeles. By the way,
Montalban, the actor, this is his theater. This guy right here.
Can you give the audience a little, guided tour? This is like the heart of downtown LA.
Not downtown. This is the heart of Hollywood. This is old school Hollywood night. So Hollywood and Vine, which is the street corners we were just on. We're right down the street on Vine now, but this is old school Hollywood. Downtown LA would be more like where we were yesterday for the rally, where the convention center was.
Okay.
So this was supposed to be the glamorous period of time, like when they were doing movies originally in the 20s and 30s. You still had the studio system functioning around here. So we're close to Paramount. We're close to several studios around here.
Okay. And I guess there's a concert going on before the speeches, so we'll see. And my last question before we go in. So, all right, we have all these backroom deals that came together in 3 days. Somehow I don't think this came together in 3 days. Somehow I think that this was kind of engineered before. I also think that, how do we know Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Tom Perez aren't all over this? It's not easy to get 3 egomaniacs together in 3 days.
No.
Beto, Amy, Pete, Bloomberg, they're probably trying to push to get out too. Seems to me that this was not something that came together, most likely, in 48 hours.
So, no, I don't think it did at all, and it has Tom Perez's fingerprints all over it. I'm actually, what I have in my mind now, what I'm curious about is what Tulsi's going to do. She has even less viability.
Be careful. You know, the Tulsi Warriors, you say one thing. You say one thing, they go at you.
Okay, let me say this. I have great love and respect for Tulsi. I interviewed her yesterday. I think she shines in the area of DNC corruption. She saw it firsthand. I think I will always respect her for the fact that she stepped down from the DNC to endorse Bernie Sanders. That took a lot of courage. So I think she gets credit for that stuff.
You interviewed her yesterday, too.
And this is what I asked her about. Because she sees this coming down. She sees that article where you had over 93 super delegates that have now confirmed that they will do what they can to stop a Bernie Sanders presidency. They're pretty much saying that. So I'm curious to know if there's conversations going on behind the scenes with her as well. Maybe she's going to drop out, endorse Bernie, help him out. I don't know. I
texted somebody I know that works on our campaign today. Oh, okay. I can't get into full details, but basically a stay tuned kind of thing.
I feel like she's a friend of the campaign in some way. That's the impression I get. I don't know what's actually happening, so this is just me, you know.
But to me, I mean, I'm not trying to dismiss Tulsi Gabbard, but I mean, the honest truth is she's at 1%. So, like, she's not the one stopping Bernie. Elizabeth Warren,
and she has no delegates, but
what I find so striking, Elizabeth Warren might be a faux progressive, but she's not stupid either. She also, I don't think she's delusional enough to think that if she does this, that the party's going to just give it to her, thinking like, oh, unity, blah, 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 blah. I don't think she's that stupid.
She might be. I think she actually thought that for a long time. I think that's why she did stay in. I think maybe she should wake up and realize that maybe she's going through that process now. But I think she was offering herself up as that kind of unifying candidate. I'm not quite as extreme as Bernie is. I could appeal a little bit more to the centrists. So she was trying that route. It's not going to play. I also want to point out something that's really bothered me the last 2 days is because of the early voting, they should have done what they're doing right now earlier, because we've been taking early voting in now for several days. They literally just disenfranchised all those voters that voted for Pete, voted for Amy, because they've wasted their votes now. If they had done this earlier, they could have been given the opportunity to actually cast a vote that would have been meaningful. So I think that's pretty crummy that they did that.
Where could people find out your wonderful work?
District 34 is my podcast, or on Rockfin, ROKFIN.
I hear Status Coup should get on Rockfin.
Status Coup should definitely get on Rockfin.
Because FewTube, as I call it, FewTube has not been kind to you.
I call it, wait, am I allowed to cuss?
Go ahead.
I call it fuck you, tube.
All right, so we're going to go in. I have no idea what this even is, but it's going to be wonderful. Keep signing up. We just got 2 new members. Welcome to the party. New Status Coup member James. New Status Coup member Soma. We are now 71 members away. 71 members away from 1,800. We just passed 1,700 last night. So keep signing up. I don't see anybody else out here in the trenches other than Status Coup, Tina, and some other indies. I definitely don't see CNN. I don't see other indie outlets that claim to be very progressive, but they kind of don't come out in the trenches. So sign up, statuscoup.com/join. Let's check out what's going on in there. Thank you.
I don't have much more to say about that because I really want to give all of us the opportunity to hear from the brilliant speaker who's here to join us tonight. We have the amazing Marianne Williamson, who... Marianne is a spiritual teacher and author, and she has inspired millions of people throughout her life. as we know, and done such great service with projects such as Project Angel Food, which just served its 12 millionth meal. That was started in AIDS to serve the homebound AIDS and HIV population. So that's a beautiful project. And most recently, took her place as a candidate for the President of the United States of America. How about that? So I'm really, really grateful that Marianne has endorsed Bernie and that she's here to talk with us on a level that so many of us will resonate with tonight.
Can you pick up the audio from here?
To the night before Super Tuesday here in California in our own unique and special way. So please welcome Marianne Williamson.
Los Angeles, one of the places that truly feels like home for me. And to have met Heather 3 days ago, Bernie's stepdaughter. Her mother, Jane Sanders, is a very, very special woman. And of course, we hope that one day she will be part of America's first family. So. I'd like to talk to you tonight about 3 people. Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders. I ran for president, as you know. And I spent a year in that belly of the beast. And I think that's more literally true than most of us even realize. I experienced a lot of things. And one thing that I experienced is that of those 3 people, Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders, that are all really fine, really good, really nice people. And I think that that's particularly significant, number one, because I speak that as someone who was in a situation where I was not expected, and there were a lot of different attitudes thrown at me, but all 3 of those people showed me kindness and showed me respect, and I think that means something. That's number one. And number 2, we're going to be going through a lot together over the next 3 months. And I think that all of us agree that the most important thing of all is that Donald Trump is replaced and does not get a second. So something that I said a few minutes ago when we were outside in the lobby is that a lot of the work over the next 2 months will be psychological and emotional. Because we must find a way to embrace in our hearts whatever person is the Democratic nominee. And so I think for all of us, especially on a night like tonight, where so many of us, I know and I'm assuming many of you, if not all of you, and if it's not all of you now, I hope by the end of the night it will be all of you, really, really, really want Bernie Sanders to take this. Bernie Sanders to take things on. There is a great contest going on here. And within the Democratic Party, it is a contest between what's called the moderate wing of the Democratic Party and the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. Now, it's kind of interesting because to hear Joe Biden, who I do like very much as a person, say that it's time to restore the soul of the Democratic Party, to me, that's why we need Bernie. You know, when I grew up, anytime you ever asked my father, who'd you vote for, Daddy, in the presidential election, all the way up to his death in 1995, he would respond, FDR, voted for Roosevelt. So I was raised in a home where, even though I am a passionate student of American history, I would have read plenty about Roosevelt anyway. He had a very special place in my family's political lore. And so what Bernie Sanders represents, and this is important because one of the memes thrown at him, and he's not a Democrat. We'll have a couple of things to say to that. And the first one has to do with what I've already pointed out. Bernie Sanders is standing on a platform more aligned with the core of what the Democratic Party supposedly stands for than any other candidate in the race. And I can say that with particular certainty because I'm old enough to remember a time when the Democratic Party had a soul. And it lost it around the 1990s. When the money that began to be poured into the political system was so outrageous, and President Clinton had this idea with something called the Democratic Leadership Council, that the Democratic Party could play footsies under the table and work with all those corporate forces, and they too could win at that game. And it split the soul of the Democratic Party. Before that time, the Democratic Party was known for one thing, that the Democratic Party stands on the side of the working people of America. It means to stand there and win. Over the last 40 years, there has been such a massive transfer of wealth in this country. Starting with the Reagan presidency, there has been such a massive transfer of wealth in this country through corporate tax cuts, through corporate subsidies, through tax cuts for the very wealthiest Americans. And this transfer of wealth has taken us to a point where 1% of Americans own more wealth than the bottom 90%. This economic theory that was proffered to us as a wonderful thing, trickle-down economics, was going to be great, you see. It meant that all the corporation should have is financial responsibility to its own stockholders. And that means capitalism completely untethered from conscience. That means capitalism untethered from any sense of ethical or moral responsibility to people or to planet. And kids, I'm old enough, I gotta tell you, you might not even believe this, it sounds so far from the reality that you know. You know, I actually lived in a time when the American corporation was expected to care. I grew up in a time when if somebody had worked for a corporation for decades, it was the social understanding that that corporation cared whether or not that person had a dignified retirement. But with trickle-down economics in the 1980s, it was this idea that, no, if we get all the money, you see, we get as much money as possible to the stockholders, then all that money will trickle down because they'll create jobs. And it'll be great, they'll be the job creators, and all that money will trickle down and it will lift all boats. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, after 40 years, I think we can say that the jury is in. It did not lift all boats. It has left millions of people without even a life vest. It has created a situation where tens of millions of Americans have no idea and live with the chronic economic tension and anxiety of not having any idea what will happen if they get sick. And they don't know what would happen if one of their kids gets sick. And they don't know what they're going to do to get their kids to college. And they don't know what they're going to do to pay off these college loans. That is chronic tension and anxiety. I'm going to tell you something. Now everybody talks about the mental health crisis. Every time that the politicians talk about what they're going to do this, oh, the mental health crisis, you know what I'm thinking to myself? Why don't you stop passing laws that make it inevitable that people are driven crazy? Years has decimated America's middle class. It has created the largest income inequality in almost 100 years. This is what's extreme. This is what's radical. Bernie Sanders is not extreme. Bernie Sanders is not radical. The massive transfer of wealth over the last 40 years into the hands of a very, very tiny group of Americans, that's what's extreme. That's what's radical. And too often, the Democratic Party played along. Good for Bernie. Correction. And the difference between the moderate candidates and the progressive candidates is that the moderate candidates are saying, let's take an incremental approach to this. What do you mean an incremental approach? Why? Why should it take time? It didn't take you guys time to pass, and this is not the Democrats who did this was the Republicans, but to the political establishment, I say, it didn't take you guys time to pass the 2017 tax cut, $2 trillion tax cut, where 83 cents of every dollar is given to the very richest Americans. It didn't take you guys time, and this does include the Democrats as well as the Republicans, to pass the $738 billion National Defense Authorization Act this year, which gives all those billions of dollars to the military industrial complex, even over and above what the military says that they want. It didn't take you time to do that, so we don't need to take a lot of time to pass universal health care. It didn't take a lot of time to make sure that everybody can have free tuition at colleges and universities. Enough is enough. Over the last few decades, the American people have been trained to expect so little. Over the last few decades, the American people have been trained to say, pretty please. No, we need to say a very rambunctious, a very stylish, a very elegant, hell no, that shit stops now. You know, in 1776, 56 men signed the Declaration of Independence. And this was a very brave thing for them to do, because by so doing, they were committing treason against the King of England. And if the British had won that war, those men would have been hanged as traitors. And they, by signing that declaration, they encoded into the founding of a country the most enlightened, the most aspirational principles to have ever formed the founding of a nation. It was the most radical that ever done that 200 years ago, and it is still radical today, those ideas. The idea that all men are created equal. Before that, it was all about a monarchy and an aristocracy, where the whole idea was that one person, and that person's rich friends, the aristocracy, that they were entitled to all the majority of the resources of the country, and everybody else was basically serving them. With the founding of this country, with the statement that all men are created equal, with the statement that God gave all men inalienable rights, life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, that entire paradigm was repudiated. It was rejected, and it was rejected by men who were willing to risk their lives in order to do so. And the Declaration of Independence goes on to say that governments are instituted to secure those rights, the rights of the people. And it goes on to say that if that government is not doing its job, it is the right of the people to alter it or to abolish it. What has happened is that we lost our psychological and emotional bonding with those principles. They're written on marble walls in Washington and other places. They're written on parchment behind glass in museums. But we've lost our emotional connection to them. If those principles aren't inscribed in our hearts, they become dead. And that is what needs to be reinvigorated. The audacity, the original audacity of the American experiment, the rambunctiousness of the American experiment. And John Adams, our second president, said that he hoped that every July 4th, Americans would revisit their first principles. But you see, that signing, that declaration and the drama around it is where it all began. And all that has happened since is that every generation reenacts the same drama. Because you see, although those men, 56 of them, signed that declaration, even though that's where all the enlightened and aspirational principles were first encoded, that situation is also where it began to be so gnarly. Because 41 of the signers of the Declaration of Independence were themselves slave owners. You see, we have always been both. That bipolar nature of the American character is built into the pig. It is the American DNA. We are both. And we have been both in every generation, and we are both in this generation. Both people whose hearts are ablaze with the very possibility of what it means to have a society where anybody can soar. Everybody has equal opportunity to actualize their God-given potential and become whatever they want. That idea and the radicalism of that idea. We are ablaze with that idea. But every generation as well has contained forces, and that was not only true in 1776, it's also true today. We've also contained forces which usually for their own economic benefit are willing to even violently and heinously transgress against the principles on which we stand. Now, every generation plays out that struggle. Every generation plays out that contest. And it is simply our turn. Because we had slavery in this country, but let's not forget that we also had abolition. And we had the institutionalized suppression of women in this country. But then we also had the women's suffragette movements. We had the institutionalized white supremacy and segregation in the American South. And then we had the civil rights movement. It is simply our time. And Thomas Jefferson himself said, It is the general tendency of the rich to prey upon the poor. Now, not every rich person is a greedy bastard, by far, and not every poor person is noble and pure. This isn't about individuals. It's definitely not about demonizing individuals if we're coming from a space of nonviolence. But it is about calling out corrupt systems. Today, it's not an evil institution like slavery. Today, it's not an evil institution like segregation or the suppression of women. It is more like a mindset. It is an economic mindset which posits a new aristocracy. That's what we have, is a new corporate aristocracy. They used to have landowners. Now they have health insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, oil and gas companies, chemical companies, gun manufacturers, agribusiness, food companies, and military industrial contractors. Defense, and they're like a new aristocracy. Who are all supposed to bow down to their short-term profits. Their short-term profits, well, they have to get their short-term profits. Just like the old aristocracy, and then after they get their short-term profits, everybody else gets to what? Digging up what's left? Once again, very kindly, very sweetly, oh no, hell no, we're burning. You know, some people these days, I feel that too many people are unbalanced in one direction or the other. Some people only want to talk about what's good about America and won't look at our underbellies. And it's important, whether you're a nation or an individual, you have to look at your shadow. You have to bring it up. You have to own it. You have to atone for it. You have to make amends for it in order to heal and transform. But then there are other people these days, and it seems like all they want to talk about is what we've done wrong. And that's just as unbalanced, because America hasn't done everything wrong. We've done good things too. And even when we have done wrong things, and we have done very wrong things, our tendency has been over time to self-correct. Yes, it's important that we identify racism. Yes, it's important that we identify slavery. Yes, it's important that we identify systemic injustices. Yes, it's important to identify the problems in our past and in our present. But it's important that we identify with the problem solvers in our past and in our present, and we are among them. So the moderates in this race feel that we can take an incremental approach. And I believe that we don't have time to take an incremental approach. That was made clear in the last election. And in the last election, a woman who said, let's just continue with the success of the Obama years, was met by millions of people who said, what success? I'm freaking drowning here. And they thought that they were voting for a change agent. You know, I'm one of those people who, as horrified as I was by the election of Donald Trump 4 years ago, I'm not one of the Americans who was radically surprised. And I'll tell you why. Because I knew that rage of despair. I knew that rage that so many millions of people were feeling, because they knew, and they were right, that the American economy had become rigged against them. And so I felt it's either going to be a progressive populist, or it's going to be an authoritarian populist. But a woman who's not even naming the pain is going to have a really rough time. People want to feel that they are heard, and they want to feel that their pain is seen and acknowledged.
That's right.
And so now we're going to run somebody who's going to say the same thing that she said and lost with? Let's just continue the times that we were having then. I don't think so. Because that rigging, they were legitimate. And I think that many people who voted for Trump, believing that maybe he could fix it, are still upset at the rigging against them and are open to the possibility that maybe he didn't, but maybe Bernie would.
Yeah.
Extreme, that universal health care for everybody. It shouldn't be seen as extreme to have universal access to higher education. Let me tell you something else. It should not be seen as anti-capitalist.
That's right.
I'm not an anti-capitalist, but I believe in capitalism with a conscience. What has happened is that capitalism has become completely untethered from any sense of moral or ethical responsibility to people or to planet. And our government has become a handmaiden. Our government has become a handmaiden to this. It's become a system of legalized bribery, and the political elite and the political establishment in both major parties is part of that corporate aristocracy.
Right.
And I say, good on you, Bernie. Good on you. And you know, I know. I've been there. I've saw how it works. And they said in a meeting, but you know what? I learned from running for president that the system is even more corrupt than I feared. But I also learned from running for president that the American people are even more wonderful than I knew. I learned that if we just remember that Jeffersonian principle, which to me now is I'm more committed to it, more convinced behind it than ever before, and that is that the only safe repository for power is in the hands of the people.
Right.
What I saw among the people in Iowa, what I saw among the people in Nevada, what I saw among the people in New Hampshire, what I saw among the people in South Carolina is that if the DNC would get out of the way and stop hitting its finger on the scale, the American people could handle it. Because if they hadn't put their fingers on the scale last time for Hillary, then either Hillary or Bernie would have won the primaries, but you know what? We all would have felt good about it, and I don't think Trump would be the president today. That what I have been watching it because I've been in the middle of it. This entire year has been like watching a slow car crash because I've seen how they work and how they have been doing this for a very, very long time from the beginning of this campaign. And last year it had to be one woman. This year it has to be their little group. And so there's only one response that is powerful enough to override an aristocracy, whether that is an aristocracy of corporations or whether it is an aristocracy of a political elite in the form of a campaign, media, industrial complex. There's only one way to override that, and that is for the people to stand up.
That's right.
The second person I thought I wanted to talk about was Elizabeth Warren. And I have a lot of affection for Elizabeth Warren. And I'm not one of those people who has Elizabeth or Bernie, and I see all that stuff. That's not where I live. You know, it's like in an intimate relationship. You have to be able to duke it out. You have to be able to fight, but we can fight fair and we can fight lovingly. But there's something about Bernie that was true 4 years ago, and it's true again. That man has hit the vein. That man has ignited the passions of millions of Americans, particularly young Americans.
Yes.
He proved it 4 years ago, and he's already proven it again. Let us not forget, he won Iowa, and he won New Hampshire, and he won Nevada. And I think that it is very reasonable to point out that for all of these decades, he has really been there for the American people. He has really been an advocate for the American people. And tonight and tomorrow, we need to be there for Bernie.
That's right.
There's one other thing that I'd like to point out before I let you go on to enjoy the rest of the evening. And that is something Saul was mentioning about peace. As you know, when I was running peace creation, peace building, and the Department of Peace was a very big issue for me. I think one of the most dangerous areas where our corporate aristocracy, this in the form of the military-industrial complex, is the most dangerous, has to do with the fact that military defense contractors have too much of an influence over American foreign policy. One of the reasons I feel strongly about endorsing and standing with Bernie is because of the war in Yemen.
Yes.
The war in Yemen, there is something so hideous going on here. And that is that for the sake of a $360 billion arms sale to the Saudi Arabians with that prince of theirs, the crown prince, who we know murdered a journalist, Khashoggi. And yet, we, for the sake of a $360 billion arms sale to him, we are giving aerial support to his genocidal war against Yemen. Our grandparents would be rolling over in their graves. Our grandparents would be rolling over in their graves. Where the United States is supporting a genocidal war. And you know what, in a way, to me, is even worse than the fact that the United States is actually, as we speak, supporting a genocidal war? That you and I aren't even talking about it. But I'll tell you who has been talking about it. Bernie Sanders.
Right.
Bernie Sanders led the effort in Congress to actually override President Trump's ability to do that. Unfortunately, the president was able to override that. But you see, I don't forget things like that, and neither should you. Bernie Sanders has always been in situations like that, taking a stand, even when those stands were unpopular, even when those stands were not politically glamorous, even when those stands were not politically accepted. This is one of the most critical moments in American history. Capitalism must help correct itself now. And American capitalist leaders, some of the most powerful ones, do know that. They know that. That's why people like Ray Dalio, people like Jeremy Grantham have been saying so. Even the Business Roundtable, which is one of the most conservative business groups out there, has now declared that short-term profit for the corporation must no longer be its bottom line. And they're right, and they're not stupid, because they know that if they don't start getting that act together, it won't be Bernie or Elizabeth or Marianne. It will be a generation after us that storms that Bastille. Because you've got millions of young Americans who are saying, what the hell has global capitalism ever done for me? And who are looking at socialism and saying, what should I be afraid of, the free healthcare or the free college? I believe that the most evolved enlightened society is a blend of the great entrepreneurial spirit that capitalism can bring and the socialist insistence that there must be a concern for the common good. That's what America is at our best. We both protect individual freedom and allow the entrepreneurialism and the creativity and all the wonderful things that have to do with people being able to spread their wings, and it also takes care of the common good. That's why we need to cancel these college loans. That's why we need to give people free access to education. That's why we need to give people free access to healthcare so they can soar, so that they can live their dreams, so they can actualize their potential. Can make money. The problem in America is that not enough people can make money. That's the problem in America. And so I don't think the average person in America who creates wealth wants to feel that they are doing that at the expense of everybody else having a chance too. This is our chance. We've gone way off course. American capitalism is straight off course. The American government, as its handmaiden, is straight off course. And it needs like a big chiropractic adjustment. And it's time. It is time right now. It is not time to go with forces, even within the Democratic Party, who say, well, we got to take it slower, we got to moderate. No, you actually don't. It is a sociopathic economic system, just like it is a sociopathic person that has no empathy, that has no remorse, that does not care about people. That is a sociopathic economic system. It has done enough damage. It has done enough harm. Enough people are suffering. It is time to show up and to stand up. And there is no spirituality that doesn't care about the suffering of other sentient beings. It is my spirituality that makes me a progressive. Spirituality that's on the other end. There is no religious or spiritual path anywhere that gives any of us a pass on addressing the suffering of other sentient beings, and we need to address that suffering now. Right. That's what Bernie will do if he's president. That's what I'm
That's right. Thank you, Marianne. Woo! Yeah.
Please keep that going for Marianne Williamson. I think half of my brain has been blown tonight. The courage that it takes to speak truth, to stand up and to really face the moment that we're in. I think it's something for all of us that is hard at moments. You know, we've all been conditioned in some way to doubt ourselves, to criticize ourselves and others, and, you know, to be afraid of our gifts. And when we see one of our leaders, one of our elders, or youth standing up and doing that, and we recognize it and it inspires us. And listening to Marianne talk tonight is really amazing. A few years back when she ran for Congress in the 33rd District, I was part of a benefit for her, and just hearing her speak and bring in that kind of vision into this political conversation is amazing. So I want to thank you all for being here tonight. We put this together on very short notice. We have a few more speakers from that are connected to Bernie's campaign. And I want to invite you all to stay a little more. and then we're going to have some more music tonight. So I want to introduce, I want to get this right, forgive me, I'm not texting anyone, I'm just reading a text. I want to introduce Carlos Marroquin.
That's right, Carlos.
Grassroots organizer, founder of California Latinos for Bernie and the Bernie Sanders Brigade.
That's right.
Carlos.
Carlito. Hey, Carlito.
Come on. Good evening, everybody.
Hey. Woo! Carlos.
My friends, great to be here tonight. Tomorrow is a big day for us because Bernie Sanders will win California. I had the pleasure to be able to campaign for Bernie Sanders not a month ago, not 6 months ago, not a year ago. We've been doing this since 2015, and I can tell you right now that I have seen the excitement grow as the years go by. Even when he had lost in 2016, we kept going and we kept lifting the name of Bernie Sanders, and I tell you that people are excited and ready to go vote for him tomorrow.
That's right.
I have been working with Latinos up and down the state of California, and Latinos will deliver California for Bernie. Thank you. So at this time, I would like to introduce one of the great organizers and leaders here in Southern California. She has been a great advocate for public banking, and we know that we got to take away the power from Wall Street, and we got to bring the power back to the people. And I'd like to introduce at this time Trinity Tran for Public Banking LA.
Trinity. Yes.
Good evening, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing? So the incredible energy and momentum that we are witnessing right now from the Bernie 2020 campaign is the culmination of months and months of hard work and extraordinary dedication from over a million volunteers and millions of supporters from across this nation, across the state of California, across Los Angeles, who not only believe that this is a world, a better world is possible, but that it's a world that's worth fighting for. And we are in this incredibly historic moment in history to be able to fundamentally transform every pillar of society. And we know what it's like to fight from the grassroots. So just to share our story, this past year, volunteer organizers and activists representing 10 cities with the California Public Banking Alliance took on Wall Street and defeated the Wall Street status quo, defeated the most powerful corporate lobbyists in the world by passing AB 857, the public banking.
Yes, yes.
Empowers California cities, counties, and regions to form their own banks. A public bank that is owned by and accountable to the people. A public bank that is capable of recapturing the billions that we pay to out-of-state private Wall Street shareholders to recirculate that money back into our local communities so that we can fund things that help us, so that we can fund green energy infrastructure, affordable housing, education, build roads and schools, instead of using our public funds to finance private prisons, immigrant detention centers, fossil fuels. This is the revolution, the financial revolution happening in real time, and we were able to beat the banks by out-organizing them.
Woo! Yes.
And what we proved is that even without funding, this was an entirely unfunded campaign. All volunteers, even without funding, even with minimal resources, even without paid lobbyists, the grassroots can win.
That's right.
Because ultimately, victory isn't about how much money you have. It's about how resourceful, how strategic you are in your approach. It is about how effective you are at being able to mobilize people into a political force. And most importantly, victory is about how hard you are willing to fight to win.
Yes. Yes.
With Bernie Sanders, we have the opportunity to change, transform
transform this country at quantum speed, because with Bernie Sanders, we are not just taking on Wall Street and the big banks. With Bernie Sanders, we are taking on the fossil fuel companies. We are taking on the pharmaceuticals. We are taking on the landlords of the body. We are taking on the military-industrial complex, the billionaire class, special interests.
Yeah. Take him down.
We are in a moment, a historic moment, where we can reverse this world at such a speed. In just one presidential term, we can reverse all of Trump's destructive, extractive, regressive policies,
Yes.
his austerity measures against the working poor. And we can be able to create the world that we deserve, the just and equitable world that we deserve. And that is why we need to elect Bernie Sanders, because we are not just electing the president, we are electing an organizer in chief.
Right.
We can embolden grassroots community-led solutions like what we were able to accomplish with the Public Banking Act. So thank you so much for your fight. Thank you all for being here. Let's make history tomorrow.
Next, I would like to introduce to you, we know that we have a huge problem with homelessness here in California, really all over the nation. But LA is the epicenter, and this person that I'm about to introduce you, he has been doing great work with the homeless population here. The unhoused people are suffering out there, and we are about to bring relief to them because we need a change of the system that is not working for everyone. But until that happens, we have great people, great advocates out there that are fighting daily for the unhoused. And it is my pleasure to introduce one of the greatest advocates here in Southern California, advocating for the homeless, Mel Tirani.
That's right, Mel.
Thank you to Carlos, one of another amazing fighter for everything from housing to Medicare for all in LA and California, to Trinity who got us public banking, and so many other my friends who are here who have fought for our people. I always had hope from Carlos, from Trinity, from Jason, Michelle, Betsy, Betty, all our fellow advocates. But a month ago, when I saw Marianne coming up and talking about the same issues that we are fighting against, I got a new hope. And not just hope, a shared sense of courage. The moment Marianne shared a tweet saying that 40 years of corporatism without a conscience and corporate fat cats getting away, it resonated. You know, people congratulate me for having a non-profit where we give showers to the homeless, and people congratulate me every time we expand. But think of it, in a city that has 230,000 millionaires, we have to take trailers to give showers to the people living on the street. People who come in the morning at 7 a.m., take a shower and go to work. We have parking lots for people who live in our cars. Just recently, a woman shared with me, every day she buys two packs of ice to keep her insulin cold, so that when she sleeps in her car without a fridge, she can take that insulin, and that insulin will be effective so she doesn't die. It's not just about homelessness anymore. Everybody knows we have a broken healthcare system. But what people don't know is there's a lot of moms and dads out there who are struggling to put food on the table for their kids. There are moms and dads in this city, in this state, in this country who are going hungry because they are giving their food to their kids to have first. They are paying for their kids' textbooks, and they're choosing to go hungry just so their kids have a chance. With Marianne, I am really thankful to see her up here when all the other rats are running after cheese. You saw 3 other candidates.
Yes.
You saw 3 other candidates jump and go after gold and support a person who is exactly against everything they spoke for, so they could hold on to their limelight. Marianne had the courage to step up, say the things that nobody wants to say, that we are getting to, we are in a class war, that there is a movement from the Democratic Party to put down the people who are struggling to get up. For all of you here, you are here because you are listening to Marianne's message. You are fighters with us in this fight. Yes, it is Bernie up for the nomination, but the fight is not about Bernie. The fight is about Medicare for all. The fight is about affordable housing.
Yes.
The fight is about jobs for all.
That's right.
And we are grateful for Marianne. We are grateful for you. We are grateful for other Bernie supporters, because this is our time.
That's right.
This is our time to fight.
That's right.
It's time. We are not going to
That's right. That's right, Mel.
If it needs, we are going to drive to Florida. If it needs, we are going to drive to Arizona. If it needs, we are going to stay at home, text back, phone back to make sure that we win this nomination and this presidency. It is not about Bernie. It is about you and me. And that's why in this campaign we say, not me, us.
Not me, us. Not me, us. Not me, us.
Thank you, and thank you, Marianne.
Job now.
How you guys doing? I'm gonna share a little more, keep raising the energy, and then we'll bring you some music.
That was Mel.
That was Mel, and forgive me, I don't know Mel's last name. Mel, what's your last name?
It's a hard one.
De La Carabna. Mel De La Carabna. And please give another round of applause. So I want to introduce a friend of mine. His name is Jay Ponte, and he is the author of Lead the Revolution handbook. Please come on, Jay Ponte. Now put your hands to everybody. If you are about health justice.
Yes.
Put your hands together if you are about racial justice.
Yes.
Put your hands together if you are about climate justice.
Yes.
Put your hands together for Marianne Williamson.
Yes.
Put your hands together for the Grassroots.
Yes.
Because, my friends, if you haven't been paying attention, this is not just about one candidate. This is a movement. This is the coming together of historic movements across racial justice, across climate justice, across climate justice, across immigrants' rights justice, against LGBTQ issues. Across all of these movements, there was did anyone see in the lobby the t-shirt with the words, where it was on it? The Bernie t-shirt. Solidarity. Now right now the establishment has solidarity. You see them working together. But what they don't know, what they do not realize, is that we have been organizing for years and we have never stopped.
Right.
It started with Occupy Wall Street, where some people got the idea that these too big to fail banks, if they were too big to fail, they were too big to exist.
That's right.
And something you don't hear, a narrative you don't hear much in the mainstream media, is that it was actually those Occupy Wall Street activists working outside, and then activists with progressive Democrats in America, who launched a national campaign that pushed Bernie Sanders to run. Did you hear that in the mainstream media?
No.
Anyone hear that?
No.
Because Bill McKibben once said, you have to clear the ground before these candidates, but you also have, the grassroots needs to be there to back it up, because we are in an existential moment for humanity. We're in an existential moment. And I gotta tell you, I'm scared. I'm really scared. I'm scared because the science tells us that we don't get to have more pipelines. We don't get to have fracking.
I'm really scared because I was at the Democratic Platform Committee, and what I saw inside the Democratic Party scared me. What I saw was a party establishment that could not see past the quarterly report, that could not see past the wealthy donors in the Hamptons, and that put these people in power to make policy, lobbyists, corporate lobbyists. What I also saw at the Democratic Platform Committee were activists like my friend Marianne Williamson is going to join me, and Bill McKibben, and Jane Klepp, and Josh Fox. And I saw some of the most incredible activists, academics, scholars in the country come together. And when we came together, we won.
That's right.
We won that kind of platform. But it was because we were willing to disrupt. It was because they knew that we would come to Philly with 100,000 practice. Because when we have solidarity, when our movements are united, when our people are united, the 99% are united, we are unstoppable. Can you feel the power of this campaign?
Yes.
Can you feel the power? Because this society tells you that you are separate, you are different, you are alone, you are a consumer. Why do you think Amazon is the most profitable company in the world? Atomization. You are separate, you are different, you are alone. But you are not alone. Are you alone?
No.
Do you feel alone when you're here?
No.
So one of the most significant things about the Occupy movement, about the Sanders campaign, is that it is bringing people together. People across all lines, working in unity. And I want to ask you one time, we're really good at focusing on the problem, like Marianne said. We're really good at seeing the issue. We know, progressives know what the issue is. But I think we get to see more about the vision. Yes. I think we get to see the vision of what Bernie Sanders' America looks like.
Yes.
Who are you fighting for? 45,000 people each year die because of lack of health care. Wrap your mind around that. 58,000 people were killed in the entire Vietnam conflict. And 45,000 people a year die because a handful of billionaires and corporations don't want to pay their fair share of taxes. Okay? But right now, what I want you to think about, I want you to think about the person, the father, the grandmother, the child, the family who's doing a GoFundMe right now because their little girl can't afford the medical care she needs. And I want you to think about the suffering. I want you to connect with it. Because you are not separate, you are not different, you are not alone. We are united by one human spirit. One human spirit. Like fingers of the same hand, we are all one.
That's right.
We are all one. And I want you to think about that person, and that is who we are fighting for. That is who we are fighting for. I want you to close your eyes again. If you can't, just close your eyes for a second. And it's very scary. I'm scared too. But I want you to think about, in your mind, that moment when you see on the news or on your feed that Bernie Sanders has just won California.
Yes.
I want you to see it in your mind. I want you to feel how it feels after fighting for so many years. So many obstacles, so many people not waking up. So many people trying to shorten the status quo because they're also scared. So many people trying to suppress these movements because they're trying to maintain power. And I want you to think about how it feels, everything you've been through, what you gave, how much you care, because it means something, and you're not alone. There are millions of people. And I want you to go forward in time. I want you to think about the Democratic National Convention in Milwaukee. And I want you to go there in your mind and imagine where you are. Are you watching on TV? Are you watching on your phone? Are you there? Are you outside? I bet you a lot of you will be there.
Inside.
That's right. And I want you to imagine the moment when Bernie Sanders says, "It is my honor to accept the Democratic nomination for President of the United States."
Yeah!
Can you feel that? Can you feel the power? And then I want you to think about that moment on on November 3rd, I want you to think about where are you? Where were you when the reign of terror of Donald Trump ended? Because Bernie Sanders was declared the 46th President of the United States.
Yes.
And lastly, my friends, I want you to imagine Inauguration Day. How many people do you think are going to be there?
Millions.
Millions. Think about the power. And my friends, this is only the beginning. Because the truth is that is only the beginning for us to realize the vision of Bernie Sanders America. And I want to thank you for all you've done. I want to thank all the people here for your heart, for your spirit. And we also have we're releasing a book soon called The Political Revolutionary's Handbook. And we released a training series. We tell you some of these stories. It's on betherevolution.us. So if you want to stay in touch, it's for free. We featured my friend Namiki Konst, who's about to join us. So I just want to hear, if you're about climate justice, I want to hear you say, I believe.
I believe.
If you're about health justice, say, I believe.
I believe.
If you're about racial justice, say, I believe.
I believe.
If you believe in Bernie Sanders, say, I believe.
I believe.
I believe.
I believe.
I believe.
I believe.
I believe that we will win.
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 I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
Thank you, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, host of the Namiki Konst, everyone.
You have to be a little patient with me because I'm losing my voice, and tomorrow I have to do possibly like 95 hours of live coverage because I just heard we may not have the results in by tomorrow night. So yeah. Jay just talked about something that has been, I think, on a lot of our minds here, and that is the role of the Democratic establishment, and that's become sort of my beat. That's not my background. I sort of fell into it in 2016, and I fell into it after the Bernie Sanders campaign, when we fought on the platform committee, when we fought at the convention, when we were on the floor of the convention hall, and the Hillary campaign was stealing handmade signs out of 85-year-old union members' hands that said no TPP. I mean, those were the fights that we were having at the convention, in the convention hall, while there were thousands of people outside the convention hall moving towards the convention hall. That's what happened at the 2016 convention. Now they're saying, oh, that was fun, let's do it again. No kidding. So after that convention, what a lot of people don't know is Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton came together and they decided it was in the best interest of defeating Donald Trump if they unified. Remember that word, unity?
Yeah.
Unity, yes. So Bernie Sanders graciously said, I will surrender my delegates to you so that we don't have a brokered convention. Because that convention was supposed to be an actual brokered convention. Because before California in 2016, the Associated Press called the election for Hillary Clinton because they were counting these little things called superdelegates. You may remember? There were over 450 that had endorsed Hillary publicly in 2015, blocking Joe Biden himself from running because he thought he could not get the nomination since so many superdelegates had endorsed her already. Well, turns out the press wasn't supposed to count them, and they were much closer in pledged delegates, democracy, and we were going into a brokered convention. But Bernie said, I'm going to be the better person. He didn't say that. I say that he was the better person. And in the spirit of unity and defeating Donald Trump, we came together. It was hard. It was hard because he won the Democratic platform, where you had a platform committee full of activists and organizers, and then you had on the other side of the platform committee full of consultants and weapons manufacturers. Yeah, those are the people that were setting the platform of the party. That's who we were fighting. So as we move in to California tomorrow and 13 other states and territories, What is on the line, once again, on the eve, is a potential brokered convention. I'm going to dispel a myth right now. As someone who spent 2 years running around the country, fighting for a more democratic primary process, for a more democratic party on behalf of Bernie Sanders, with 8 other of his appointees, we fought very hard to reform this process so that people like Pete Buttigieg would have a chance to run for president, so people like Elizabeth Warren could get on the debate stage. That is what came from these reforms that Bernie Sanders fought for. That is what came out of the negotiations at the convention in 2016. And what they're saying to us now is, democracy doesn't work. We're going to go behind closed doors, and we're just going to pick a bunch of establishment people to endorse Joe Biden to make it sound like there's some sort of momentum, and we're going to pick him in the end. And that's not going to happen. You know why it's not going to happen?
We are the power. That's right.
You know why it's not going to happen?
California.
Because it's going to take California.
Hell yeah.
They moved from California because they thought there's no way a people-powered movement can afford to buy ads in a state like California. Well, guess what? Bernie Sanders has raised more money than any other Democratic candidate or any other candidate.
That's right.
In a van, doing a Fox News hit. A hit is a television segment. And I was sitting in this van, and I was being streamed into the Fox News studios in New York City, where I was debating a Michael Bloomberg senior advisor and some other person. And I say other person because I don't know. I think he was just there to disrupt. Yes. So the funniest part of the segment was that they were putting forth this energy of fear. My God, if we elect Bernie Sanders, what is going to happen to this country? We're going to turn into Venezuela. Do you know what goes on in Venezuela? Do you know what happens in Cuba? And then I responded, I said, okay, these fear tactics clearly aren't working because Bernie Sanders keeps growing. His movement keeps growing. This movement of working people keeps growing. He said, well, yeah, but the establishment isn't going to let Bernie Sanders win. And I said, you know the funny thing about the establishment? It's 1%. You know what's funny about the 1%?
It's 1%.
It's 1%.
That's right.
Democracy in the end always wins. It is a complicated, what does that look like? It's a complicated system. It's not the best system, but it's the only thing that works. It's the closest thing we have. There's nothing else that's better than democracy. And so when I explain on Fox News the idea of democratic socialism to people who watch Fox News, because there are Democrats who watch Fox News, believe it or not, there are working people who watch Fox News, I say, do you believe in democracy? That is what Bernie Sanders is fighting for. He is fighting to keep our democracy in the Democratic Party. He is fighting to keep our democracy in the general election up against Donald Trump and the oligarchs. That is what is on the line here. You have oligarchs in both of our parties playing games, doing backroom deals, but there's one thing that they cannot do, and that is to take on democracy. And I say that because the bigger our win tomorrow, and the bigger our win moving forward, they can't get away with these shenanigans.
That's right. That's right.
I want you guys to keep saying that to your friends and family. If you want to win, down ticket, you gotta go with the movement that's going to defeat Donald Trump.
That's right.
The 1% is just a bunch of consultants and lobbyists and politicians being propped up by them. They're not people on the streets. They're not people knocking on doors. They're not making phone calls. They're not sending in $27 donations every week. That's a movement. And if you want to defeat Donald Trump's so-called movement, you need a bigger, more energetic, more diverse, more working class movement.
Right.
The 1% is not a movement. If these guys think that they can outsmart Donald Trump's movement, They've got something coming. And I think that I'm going to call them on their bluff from now on, and I think you should too. I don't think you guys want to defeat Trump.
Right.
I think you guys want to make money being in opposition to Trump.
That's right.
Because if you want to defeat Trump, you would be siding with working people. What is so special about these consultants that they know so much more that they need to go in the back room and circumvent democracy? Do they know more than their supposed founding fathers that they admire so much? Now, the founding fathers were flawed, we know that. But they used the founding fathers' logic. Founding fathers did not invent superdelegates. I'll tell you that. So at the end of the day, if you hear this type of rhetoric, oh, Bernie can't, people are going to lose down ballot. Oh, Venezuela, whatever. Around there. Just remind them that there's nothing to fear more than democracy when you're the 1%. And what is the 1% so afraid of? Why are they so afraid of Medicare for all? Their response is always taxes. But what is so scary about Medicare for all and free college? What is so scary about more democracy? What is so scary about FDR's platform? They don't seem to be scared of Michael Bloomberg. And he was on stage with George W. Bush just a few years ago. If we want to win this election, we have to come back at them with, we have the largest, most organized, energetic, working class, diverse, multi-generational movement in the history of Democratic Party.
Yes. Yes.
And that means, if you want to take on the Republican Party that spent all this money organizing the last few years, you got to do it with a movement, a ground organized movement. I'm going to close out because my voice is really tired. But for those of you, since we're in Los Angeles, I'm going to do a quick plug. The No BP show launched about a month ago, and I'm so grateful for those of you who are subscribed. Thank you. And we are doing a lot of deconstructing of what the establishment's tactics are. What are they doing? How are they organized? Who's funding them? That's the theme of the show. But tomorrow night in downtown LA, we are putting on a live show to take on the cable news. They go all night. They think that their polling is better. They think that their electoral analysis is better. Well, Chris Matthews just got fired.
Yes.
So we want these real analysts who are not biased for my advertisers are you guys. So we're going to be biased towards working people. So if you want to see working people bias, come to our event in downtown LA. Follow me on Instagram at the What's that? Where it's in downtown LA. If you go to my Instagram or Twitter, Mickey Cons, doesn't change it. The link is at the top. It's a bit.ly, so bit.ly/LA Super2. That's the link. What's that? My handle is at NOMIKIKONST. Michael Brooks is going to be there. Nando Vila from TYT. Francesca Fiorentini, who just did an amazing documentary on Medicare for All with Bernie Sanders on MSNBC. Lucy Flores, who's a former Bernie surrogate, Warren surrogate, who we're back in soon. And Alona Minkowski, David Dayen from the American Prospect and Intercept. We're going to be on stage. Justin Jackson, LA Charger, amazing activist. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to be celebrating. And if you can't make it, we're streaming it live. But I just want to thank you all for your organizing, for being out here and fighting so hard. We're going to win tomorrow.
That's right.
Thank you guys. We have one more guest, Michelle Manos. She has been a community organizer here in Southern California as well. Thank you.
Yeah, Michelle Manos.
Thank you. Podium or no podium? No podium. I'm not going to take a lot of time. I just want to thank Marianne Williamson and her team for inviting Bernie people who happen to be rallying outside for Bernie Sanders to speak on the stage. It's coalition building that's going to get us where we need to go. And so anytime we can invite each other, anytime we can appreciate each other and lift each other up, that's the most important thing that we can do to build a movement. My name is Michelle Manos. I'm one of the co-founders of Bernie's Coffee Shop in Mid-City.
Yeah, Bernie's Coffee Shop!
Bernie's Coffee Shop! Bernie's Coffee Shop is an amazing community center that has brought the magic to the movement in ways that I could never have imagined, in ways that so many of us could never have imagined, but when we come together, that's the magic that happens. So what we do there is, it has a lot to do with art, has a lot to do with spirit, has a lot to do with building, and has a lot to do with the values that Bernie Sanders speaks to. So talking about Medicare for all, talking about a Green New Deal, right? Talking about, I'm an anti-capitalist, I don't speak for the campaign, but I speak for myself. And I think that this thing is broken and that we need to move beyond this economy and this style of being with each other. Because exploiting each other, having to sell our labor to the highest bidder, or we don't deserve food, we don't deserve housing, that's unacceptable.
Right.
Everybody deserves medical care. You deserve medical care. You deserve not to die of student loans that get passed down to your children. You deserve a climate that's safe, that you can trust. And you deserve schools for your children. And I'm not going to speak for that much longer because we have more music coming your way. But again, I want to thank Marianne's people. I want to invite everyone to Bernie's Coffee Shop tomorrow.
Right.
We have less than 24 hours to finish contacting every single voter in California. So will you join us?
Yes.
Who's volunteering tomorrow? Yes. We'll be at Bernie's Coffee Shop from 9 a.m. until midnight. We're going to be canvassing and phone banking and talking to every single last voter that we can until we move into an evening program. We're going to have special guests, and the event is potluck, so I hope you will join us.
Yeah.
Thanks for staying, everybody. Really appreciate it. We got a couple for you. I'm going to play this one because Marianne was talking about feeling the pain. And I wrote this to my friend, Marianne. And I think you'll like it.
So it is midnight East Coast time. Still nearly 600 of you watching at midnight East Coast time. Gotta love it. That was awesome. The energy here for this very impromptu rally. I don't even think it was an official Bernie event, Bernie campaign event. I think it was organized here on the Grassroots. So really, really great. Really amazing. Listen, it's going to be a big, big day tomorrow. 14 states. California is the prize. Most delegates, 400-something delegates. So we will see what happens tomorrow. I will be on it all day, making sure to monitor the fuckery. It's hard to monitor fuckery in 14 states. I'm going to do my best. We will be live tomorrow, not to compete with Nomiki, but we will be live from Bernie's coffee shop tomorrow. Most of the day. There's going to be a lot. I've never been there. There's going to be a ton of events going on there, a ton of people, music, a lot of people to interview. So we're really, really looking forward to it. We will be live there interviewing people. We will be live giving you updates, a report as things come in terms of election irregularities. But most importantly, just giving people the microphone. That's what's most important, giving people a microphone, which we're trying to do out here. As I was saying in the live chat, because I was writing, listen, if you like this, if you like reporting from street corners, interviewing supporters, because you know, one day, by the way, after this election, whether it's President Sanders or not, it's not like there's nothing to cover after the election. We need the funding to cover the rest of this campaign, as well as, after the election. Right now, we got enough funding, obviously, here. After Super Tuesday, you got Michigan, you have Wisconsin, you have Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida, New York. A lot of important states. Super Tuesday is the focus right now, but there's a lot of states to cover after Super Tuesday. And of course, this convention potentially could be the turning point, honestly, in American history, what happens at this convention. You've seen the establishment is just lining up like ducks in a row around Joe Biden, who doesn't even know it's Tuesday tomorrow. He's telling voters, go vote on Super Thursday. This is who the establishment is lining up against, Joe Biden. So tomorrow's very important, but the rest of the campaign is critical. And Milwaukee is critical. And as important as it is to fund the politicians you support, it's even more important, I'd argue, to make sure you fund the media that can show you what's going on. So we are right now 69 members away from hitting 1,800. So if you have been on the fence, sign up tonight before you go to bed. Statuscoup.com/join. Join us for as low as an overpriced Starbucks coffee, $5 a month to support us. We have other plans too, $10 a month, $20 a month. It makes a huge difference to have you supporting us. We went up 50 members today. We went up, I think, 10 to 15 today. We need to keep signing new members up. So definitely consider signing up today. Statuscoup.com/join. Sign up for as low as $5 a month. The last thing I'll say, listen, I've been doing this for like 5 years, going around the country, trying to give people that don't have a voice in corporate media a voice, trying to give people who don't have a voice, frankly, on independent media a voice, trying to cover things in a way no one else is, whether it's going to cover just like people rallying on a street corner to Standing Rock to trailer parks. I've pretty much seen a lot of stuff. But what I think, watching what I'm seeing here in California, it feels different to me than it did in 2016. There's a feeling of not this time. That's the best way I can describe it. There's a feeling of we're not going to be denied this time. We're not going to accept rigging this time. We're not going to just go quietly into the night. They're going to have to take it from our, take it over my dead body kind of feeling. That's what I'm seeing now. And the energy of the street corners mixed with the organizing that I don't think existed as well in 2016. This campaign is organized. This campaign is incredibly organized. And it's not just the campaign, it's the volunteers. They have organized these volunteers. Really, really incredible. So definitely sign up. Before I end, I'm going to have an old friend come on who has a new book out. Jay Ponte, who I met in Standing Rock, DNC convention, a bunch of other places we met. You were talking on there about how you're scared, but also imagine. And I was telling the audience, to me, having covered it in 2016 compared to now, I feel like there's something in the air of kind of like, not this time. Like you're not gonna, this time, we won't let it take it.
That's right.
From the majority. Do you feel that compared to 2016?
I think in 2016 you had a lot of new activists, a lot of new people that were activated. They came in kind of wide-eyed without knowing having had a lot of experience with direct action or electoral organizing. They just got excited by this candidate who was authentic and different, and his message resonated, and he was saying the same thing for 40 years. And then they saw what happens when you challenge state power. And so there were those of us who were involved in the Occupy movement who had already had that experience of what happens when you challenge state power. So we have been organizing since then, and for us, Bernie was a tactic. And I think the people who are newly activated, most of the people who are organizers haven't stopped since then. And there's been an inside-outside strategy of activists, Bernie-crats, progressives, occupying the party, taking over seats, people like, the Justice Democrats, Indivisible, Brand New Congress, the Alex Rojas, and Indivisible, and then you have, the Squad, so you have that insurgent campaign. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was also an outside organizer. She was at Standing Rock, where you and I were. And by the way, he snores a little bit. We shared I was able to put up some of us refugees at Standing Rock. So we kind of raided his hotel room and had many fine adventures. So I
remember showering at least 30 refugees.
Yeah, and it's really it's nice to have a shower when you're out there. You smell bad. Yeah. But the point is that Bernie's campaign has never stopped. Bernie has never stopped. He was starting at a 1% name recognition. Now he's a cultural icon. He has the highest net favorables. He has it was 1 million volunteers last year. He has smashed all campaign records, and we, for the first time in history, can communicate with everyone simultaneously. So all of our movements, as I was saying, our movement organizers across the Poor People's Campaign, the climate movements, the health justice movements, the immigrants' rights movements, all of the people are seeing each other's work and have been working in solidarity. The Bernie-crats have continued to organize, and we've never stopped. And I think just by virtue of the sheer critical mass, I don't think that there's anything that we can do. I mean, listen, this is unreal. Look at... And this is everywhere. And if you think Joe Biden, you think anybody's making dank memes for Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump both have an online juggernaut. Their online followings are immense. And there's nobody on the interwebs for Joe Biden. There's no one making videos, making crowdsourced content, doing fun, out-of-the-box events. No one is making T-shirts. No one's doing that for Joe Biden. If the Democrats run Joe Biden, they're absolutely going to lose. Only Bernie Sanders has all those factors and can defeat Donald Trump.
And let's plug your book, because you've been working on a way to basically inform and inspire the next organizers, activists. Talk about your book, which is really a training.
It is. It does tell our story from the organizers' perspective, from Occupy Wall Street, through those Occupy organizers who pushed Bernie to run, and then it talks about some of the experiences. You're definitely a part of it. You've been in it. It talks about those experiences we had at the DNC, all over the country, organizing at Standing Rock, and then it is a grassroots guide to political activism. So it does go through some of the concepts I think that are really important: the inside-outside strategy, how to land your message, how to keep from burning out, how to run campaigns, how to start affinity groups, that kind of stuff. And we also have a training series online called Be the Revolution, and you can find out about the book and the training series. We've interviewed everyone from Bill McKibben, Tom Hartman, Nomiki Konst, Jody Evans, some of the great activists on the planet. It's free for everybody. So you can sign up, find out about the book. The book is coming out. Shout out to my editor, Joan Shablin, who is making it happen right now. We're working hard, and I've always appreciated your work, and I'm just happy to call you friend, and glad you're still going, brother.
And I'll tell you, I'm snoring less these days. So next time you need...
I have photos of he looked like Darth Vader with the, what was it?
The mask I had?
Yeah, what was the mask?
I'm trying to remember. Oh, I wore that then?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have photos,
good to know.
Incriminating photos, everybody.
I need to get that book because burnout is a real thing, particularly if you're going around the country showing all this. So... definitely going to check out that book.
This is a rare breed right here. This is a dying breed of real investigative journalism. Real, honest-to-God investigative journalism, where so many of the things that you brought to light keep us going and informed. So your commitment, I know journalists have a certain degree of objectivity, but I would also consider you an activist as well. So
journalism is my activism. So, and by the way, objectivity in journalism is a bullshit thing. They're all full of shit. They're all biased. As you just saw, Chris Matthews got fired. One of the least objective people I've ever seen. So, bottom line, my job. Here's my objectivity. I objectively think it's awful that there's 500,000 people sleeping on the streets tonight. I objectively think there's something wrong when people... I spoke with a girl tonight. She got a medical list so long she could barely recite it. She's 18. In addition to dealing with her medical problems, she's risking bankruptcy. Objectively, I think that needs coverage. I think there needs to be attention on those things. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, yeah, I have a problem with that. So I never let the facts get distorted. My facts are always there. But these are the stories that need to be covered. And rallies on street corners need to be covered because that's how more people wake up. And more people are waking up thanks to what you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Yeah. Great to see you. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Thank you. All right, big day tomorrow. We're going to go get some food, go to bed here on the Pacific Coast. Make sure you sign up tonight. Statuscoup.com/join. Keep funding the media revolution. Let me take a couple questions, comments, concerns real quick. Blah, blah, blah. By the way, I don't snore that bad. Let's not go crazy. Blah, 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 blah. Listen to this guy. Jordan is the real deal. $5 a month. Hey, it's not just Jordan. There will be no takeover of the corporate media with just Jordan. That's why we need a status coup. That's why we're fundraising. That's why we're trying to grow our membership. I'd like to hire new reporters. I'd like to get Jen on camera more. We definitely need more equipment. We need producers, researchers, social media, marketing. We need a whole lot of things, and we're not taking a dime of corporate money, and I refuse to take the corporate vultures' money. I don't want their money. I don't need their money. We need your support. So if you got $5 a month, sign up tonight, statuscoup.com/join. If you don't have the money, we totally understand. Just press the like button, share. We don't want to make your situation any worse. But if you do, imagine this all over the country on a much bigger scale. Imagine being able to cover community events, rallies, impromptu organizing that happens all over this country that you will never see on CNN, MSNBC, or even other independent outlets. We have the will. You help us find the way. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow, Super Tuesday. I'll probably be live on the East Coast starting around 1 or 2. Starting around 3 or 4 o'clock on the East Coast. Again, we'll be live from Bernie's Coffee Shop. I don't really know exactly how the day will unfold, but it's going to be raw and authentic as usual. Thank you for watching. Peace out.